One olive oil based sauce that I think everyone needs to know how to make is pesto. The flavour is incomparable to the one that you buy in the supermarkets. And if possible, get yourself a mortar and pestle because the taste is second to none. We need to add a clove of garlic, a big clove of garlic into the mortar and pestle, along with a good pinch of salt. Now the salt and the garlic are going to grind together and give us a little sticky finish. So break it up and grind it. Now once that's really sticky, it's time to add the basil. You'll need one big bunch of basil, and the smell of basil is just probably one of my favourite smells. It reminds me of summer. And I need the leaves of most of this basil, so picking it off and straight into the mortar and pestle. Now if you're buying your basil ahead of time, the best way to store basil in the fridge is by wrapping it in some paper towel and then wrapping it in some cling film and then popping it in the crisper. By doing that, it's going to last so much longer, at least a week, and the leaves are going to stay really vibrant, just like this, as opposed to those little spots that form on the leaves once it starts to wilt and burn from the cold in the fridge. Now, I know it looks like a lot of basil, but after I start to bruise the basil, it's going to really crush down to not much at all. So get in there, release all that anger you have on the basil in the mortar and pestle. And you start by just bruising it as I'm doing here, but the best way to extract as much flavour out of that basil is to go in a circular motion and bruise it clockwise, anti-clockwise, until it starts to break down. Okay, once you've released all of that frustration, it's time to move on to the next step, which is the pine nuts. I'm not toasting them. You don't need to toast pine nuts for pesto, so it's all done in the mortar and pestle. We want about 50 to 60 grams, and then again, we're going to grind them, crush them, break them up, and you'll see they'll be stained by that delicious green basil. Now you do need to work quite fast when it comes to pesto because the leaves will start to oxidise, so they'll go from that vibrant green colour and they'll start to go brown. But if you work fast at this stage, you'll be completely fine. Also, the olive oil is going to help keep that vibrant colour, and some lemon. So half a lemon for this recipe, and then a good squeeze in. I won't use the whole lot yet, we'll taste it at the end just to check the seasoning. And now we can add some cheese, so just a nice big chunk of Parmesan that I'll finely grate into the mortar and pestle. Use a good quality Parmesan cheese for this, something that's a little bit aged so it's nutty, a little bit salty, of course savoury. So and we want about a handful, that's looking good. Now we'll just mix that in and have a spoon on hand just to scrape down the sides of the mortar and pestle. And now we can add the olive oil. Now the olive oil is the hero of this dish, so you need to make sure you use a good quality olive oil. This one is peppery, it's grassy, it's exactly what I'm looking for an olive oil for pesto. It looks like a lot of olive oil, but olive oil is good for you, so you can add a little bit more to it. And the smell is just fantastic. And there you have it, pesto, completely done. It's got that vibrant colour. It's ready to be served. Now you can serve this with a little bit of grilled veal with some prosciutto wrapped around it, on some pizza. It's fantastic as it is on the side of some fish or some chicken. But the classic way is in some pasta, so a few big tablespoons into some spaghetti that's cooked al dente, and I'm going to add 3 tablespoons and then give it a really good toss. This is probably one of my go-to recipes in the middle of the week when I want a fast dinner. Pasta takes 7 minutes to cook, the sauce takes 5 minutes, and then it's complete into a big bowl. A generous amount, and then just to finish it off, a little bit of Parmesan. You know what, you can buy pesto in a jar at the supermarket, but nothing compares to using fresh basil, good quality fresh olive oil, parmesan, bit of spaghetti. This is a dish I love so much that it's in my new cookbook.